Hi, this is Jamie Magrich coming to you from my craft table today. Today I'd like to show you a card. I made one for my husband for Valentine's Day, so I'm going to show you that card. And it's a fairly clean and simple card, simple stamping, and I just would like to show you this card, and then we'll do a stepped up version, and if we have time perhaps we'll try to do a third version, or maybe I'll do the third version in a separate video. Okay, well let me pan down and we'll get started. Alright, let's get started and show you what we're going to need. We're going to be using the All is Adorned stamp set. We're going to be using this, I don't know if you can see it, there's a glare, this little piece here, and the sentiment, and this little tiny circly thing there. Okay, and for the paper, let's bring it out here if I can do it. We have a card base, which is 8.5 by 5.5, scored and folded at 4 1/4. It's a card base. We have a piece of the oh shoot, I've forgotten what it's called. The woods. It's the Wood Designer Series paper, and this is 4 by 5 1/4. We have a piece of Mary Merlot, which is 2 3/8 by 5.5, and a piece of Whisper White, which is 2 1/8 by 5.5. Okay, and for ink pads we have Mary Merlot and Basic Gray, and we're going to start with the Basic Gray. And we're going to take that corner, the little corner piece here, we're going to stamp that on 2 of the corners. Now you could do this with your Stamparatus, line it up and then just turn the paper around. Oh, that's what I did on the first one, but you don't need the Stamparatus, so we'll go ahead and do it this way. Ink it up, make sure it's inked up really well. Line it up in the corner here. And give yourself a little bit of a border, about 1/8 of an inch on both sides of it. Stamp it down. I do also have my Pierce mat underneath it so that I have a good cushion underneath these photopolymer stamps. And for me it's easier to turn the card around so I can line up the same way. It's harder for me to line up the top. I don't know why. So don't be afraid to turn your cardstock around to make your stamping look easier. Line this up. Stamp it down. Okay. We're done with the gray ink. And next is the Mary Merlot. Okay, and I'm going to take the sentiment. You are pretty much the best ever. Make sure it's inked up well. Stamp that right smack in the center. Oh, it didn't work. Well, that's why I like using my Stamparatus, because I don't think I'm going to get that lined up again. What I'm doing is cleaning off the thin words and just keeping the best inked. See if I can get it lined up. I'm going to try. it didn't work, then we'll turn it over. It didn't work so well. Okay, well, let's turn it over and start again. I'm going to pause you and I'll bring you back when I get this done. Okay, we're right back. Okay, I got that one to stamp. Okay, then we're going to take the little round piece. We're going to pretend it's like our blings. We're going to put one up in this corner, up in here. And I'm trying to make that visual triangle. And we're going to put a couple down here. It's alright if they overlap a little bit on this one. Okay. Alright. The next step is going to be to mount this to the Mary Merlot paper. It's going to have like 1/4 of an inch, 1/8 of an inch border on either side of it. Okay, and I'm going to use the Tombow Multi liquid glue for that. Center it on here. It's going to be right to the edges. The ends are going to be right the same. There's not going to be any Mary Merlot on the ends, just on the top and the bottom. So just make sure you're lined up straight there. Okay. And we're going to bring in our card base on our piece of wood paper. And we're going to mount the wood paper to the front of the card base. Oops, excuse me. Okay, we're going to bring in some dimensionals. Pop this up. I put one in each corner and one in the center. My rags are in my garbage can. Okay, then this is going to go down here in this bottom quadrant where that third line is. Just line up the edges. Hangs off a little bit. Bring in your scissors and snip it off. Okay, so there's our first card. The one I did for my husband, I did hearts instead of these little swirly things. Where is the card? Well, it's disappeared on me. Here it is. And I used a lighter gray ink. And I think I probably used the other side of the paper, but alright. So now let's step it up a notch. We're going to do exactly the same thing. We're going to use the gray ink. Stamp our corners. This is basic gray. All right. The Best Ever. It's a Mary Merlot. Make sure it's inked up really good. It's hard to tell because it's already stained. Alright, let's try this again, right in the center. Give it a little bit of time for the ink to transfer to the paper. Much better than last time. Okay, use this little thing like we did before. Okay, we can close up the ink. Okay, we're going to mount this to our Mary Merlot piece. Same as before, there's no space on the edges, just on the top and the bottom. Well, it's got a little spot on it, but okay, then we're going to mount our wood on the front of our card, just like we did the first time with the first card. We could maybe put a Mary Merlot layer behind it if we choose to. That would dress it up even more. In which case I would make this a little bit smaller. Okay, now we're going to bring in a few of the pearlized doilies. Actually, I only need 2 of them. So it stuck itself to the package, so let's get another one. Alright. Pieces popped out of it. Alright, then we need part of one for up here, so we're gonna grab our snips, our scissors. The first one we're gonna cut smack in half. You'll see there's these lines here. We want that line for the top of the card. So we're gonna cut that one there. So this one's gonna get glued here. This one will go over here. And we need a little piece of one to go over on this side. So it doesn't need to be a whole one or anything, it just needs to be a little piece of one. So we're going to cut a little piece of one to go over here. Okay? So let's glue this one down first. And you're just going to put little dabs of glue on the back. You could use that sponge technique where you put it on your silicone craft sheet and use the sponge holding it in place. I just find this is easier for me. With little dibs and dabs. That one goes there. These two are harder to place until you get this piece on. This one we can put down. And right about there. And this one. I'm off camera, aren't I? Sorry. I'll go up here. Like that. Okay, let's put our dimensionals on the back of this. Okay, this is going to go on here. Okay, then we've got some of those pearl, the metallic pearls. Bring in my take a pick tool. Pick up a pearl. Put one pearl in the center of each one of these little doodaddy circle things we did. There we go, there's that one. Okay, so there's two of the cards we did today.
I got camera, I can't even see.
Alright. Alright, so then I was thinking for the next stepped up, I would use silver embossing powder. So let's give it a try.
I'm going to put you on pause and I'll be right back.
Okay, I'm back. I gathered up the stuff to do the stepped up version, the advanced version. I added another layer of the Mary Merlot. I'm using two littler pieces of the wood paper because they're just little scraps. That way you're not going to see the center of it anyway. That way it's not getting wasted. I'm going to go ahead and glue these on right now, and then we'll do the stamping part and the embossing. Okay. Glue this right onto the front of the card. So that part is ready. We'll set that aside. We'll bring in this piece here. Got my heat gun here. Got some embossing powder, and I've got a VersaFine ink pad. So we're going to I'm going to stamp the corners with the Versamark and emboss them with the silver embossing powder. Make sure I get a really good inking. My Versamark pad is nasty, but I can't keep them neat. Take this out from under it. It'll be a little easier to see my corners. This must be a little bit narrower. Turn it. Alright, now I'm going to bring in my coffee filter. This little tray I've had forever. I like to collect it in the coffee filter. I actually have two. So I'll sprinkle I forgot to use the embossing buddy. Oh well. Hopefully it's not too bad. So right in the middle there. It's not too bad. There's a couple spots on here. Must have had hair on my stamp. Alright, let's put this aside. Take care of it later. Bring in the heat tool. going to hold the heat tool on it until the powder turns to a liquid and becomes shiny. And then move it around the page. Can you see it turning? I hope. Awesome. Okay. Now let's stamp the sentiment and let's hope it works good this time. Ink it up, ink it up, ink it up. Right in the center. Absorbs into the paper. Oh, very good. Alright, now that little doodaddy thing. Here. A couple over here. Okay. Let's assemble the rest of the card, same way we did the one just before it. This piece gets glued onto the Mary Merlot strip. Oh, come on, wiggle. I need you to move. Just a little bit, please. Thank you. There are dimensionals on the back. Where'd they go? Well, let's get on with another pack. Okay. Get ready to put this on here, but I don't want to put it on until I get the doilies on. Okay, I've got the one that's cut with the line, straight edge for the top of the card. Okay, it's going to go here. One with a little bit more. My glue has a hair on it. Cannot vacuum enough. As much as I vacuum, I still always have dog hair. And my hair. And this one here. Go down here, a little bit more towards the center. We'll add this on. We'll add our bling on. Apologize, I'm losing my voice. Been fighting allergies or cold or something for weeks. Can't seem to get rid of it. I don't feel sick. I just hoarse. Runny, stuffy nose. There we go. There's our stepped up version.
Oops, this way.
So we've got 3 versions today of the same card. Simple stamping. Stepped up just a little bit by adding some embellishments. And then stepped up a little bit more by adding the embossing. Well, thank you so much for joining me at my craft table today. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I look forward to seeing you next time.